Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at why you'd want to learn a JavaScript framework. Now that's a really common question. Like, why do I want to learn a JavaScript framework? Why should I? Do I have to learn a JavaScript framework? Man, I can write really good code. I can write web pages. I can make web applications. I can do all my interactivity, everything with JavaScript. Why would I want to get involved with one of these frameworks which look quite complicated and they don't even look like JavaScript sometimes? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be answering those questions. So hang tight while we go over why you'd want to learn a JavaScript framework in more detail.
Okay then, so the first thing that we should really work out is what is a framework? Well, we'll use this guy to illustrate our point about what a framework is and what a library is, because those two terms are often used interchangeably and they're quite different concepts. So we should have a quick talk about what they are. So first of all, a framework. We're going to say that this rider is our framework, and then his awesome quad bike is your code. So the rider's in charge of the quad bike, and but you're in charge of implementing what the rider uses to get his job done. So, if you're making the win the desert race application, then you're going to need a rider for that. But if you're writing the code, you could give him a quad bike or a horse or whatever. The point is you're going to implement something that suits the framework's purpose. Now, if we were to say that it's your code that's in charge of things, and over here we have a library, well, it's your code that's deciding what happens, how it happens, what gets done, and you utilize a library, something external to your code that's being implemented by some other person or people that gets the job done for you. And you get to choose what kind of library you use to get your job done. It could be a quad bike, again, you could use a car, bus, horse, whatever. The point is that you have your code, which is making the executive decisions, and then you are making use of some third-party external thing, which is going to get the job done for you. So let's check out some frameworks and libraries of note. First of all, we have Bootstrap. Bootstrap is like the first big deal framework in the JavaScript world, and it serves only the implementation of the browser view. So really, Bootstrap is a collection of CSS, JavaScript in the form of mostly jQuery plugins and a few HTML files. And these can be used together to help build a user interface. It takes a lot of the work out of getting a user interface that works well across different browsers and across different platforms like desktop and mobile and what have you. Next, we have React. This is a library. It's your code. We use it to get things done, though it's often mistaken for a framework. I think mostly because React code looks quite different to regular JavaScript and tends to be organized a little differently as well. So it gets conflated with the other frameworks. But once again, React is a library for implementing the user interface, the front end of a web application. Then we have Vue. Vue is a framework. You fit your code in to Vue's way of doing things, but once again, it's quite actually similar to React. It's a small framework, quick to learn, and again, just looks after the front end user interface. Moving up a little bit, we have Angular. It's an MVC, Model View Controller framework. So it takes care of your view. It takes care of talking to your data layer, wherever your data is coming from, and it'll also take care of coordinating actions between your view and your data. So that's the MVC part of it, and it's a much larger, much more complex framework to learn than any of the frameworks or libraries I've mentioned so far, Bootstrap, React, or Vue, but it gets a lot more done for us. And finally, there's Bootstrap. Don't hear much about Bootstrap these days, but it got an awful lot of use in the past, and it does more or less the same job as Angular in that it's an MVC framework used to implement all parts of a application that's implemented in a browser. But having said all that, do we really need a framework? Clearly, they're kind of complicated, have a lot going on. And the question is, if you were implementing the Clear the Snow application, would you rather have one of these machines or would you rather use a shovel? And, a lot of people are going to say, give me the machine. But what if you've only got like 3 foot of path to clear? Then you don't want a machine doing that. So really, the machine is awesome. And it's just like our framework. It's this big complicated thing that we have to kind of drive and learn how to drive, and it's going to need some maintenance and support over time. Could break down. Maybe the manufacturer will stop supporting it. There's a lot of risk involved, and choosing one is a bit of a commitment. However, it'll do so much more work for you. In the amount of time that you put in clearing snow, you're going to move a lot more snow than you would if you were just working away with your shovel. But of course, if you choose the shovel, boy, those shovels are easy to come by. They're easy to replace. They don't break down. Man, it's simple, but just more work to get things done. So that's what it's like learning and choosing a framework. We're making a trade-off between time invested in learning and maintaining a framework compared to the amount of work you can get done with it.
Okay, so that wraps it up. I hope you're a bit more clear now on why you'd want to learn a JavaScript framework and even maybe which one you'd like to get started learning. For more, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel or head on over to lukefabish.com.